is a representation of Coyolxauhqui, the moon goddess. And it's actually a scaled down version of a monumental stone that was discovered in Mexico City in February of 1978. And this was a huge moment in the history of Mexican archaeology because it confirmed what scholars and specialists had long sort of suspected, but that the main Aztec temple, what's called the Templo Mayor, or the Teotihuacan, was actually in a particular place in downtown Mexico City, right in the ceremonial center of modern Mexico City, right behind the cathedral, right next to the National Palace. And so to actually have confirmation that that's where the Templo Mayor was a huge transformational moment. The kind of thing, you hear the stories about how there was this call in the middle of the night from these electricians who had stumbled across something during some excavations to put in a new substation, that sort of thing. And how transformative it was in Mexico, what an important moment it was. The King of Spain comes to see it. All of these kinds of major diplomatic events around it. And then an archaeology program that's going on to this day, where they're still finding other parts of the Templo Mayor complex. So the Coyolxauhqui Stone is at the bottom of one side of this twin pyramid complex, and it tells a story. Coyolxauhqui is the sister of Huitzilopochtli, who's the Aztec deity of the sun, or one of the Aztec deities of the sun. Is very closely tied to warfare, and they are both the children of Coatlicue, and basically there's a kind of cosmic story in that family arrangement. Coyolxauhqui is the moon goddess, Huitzilopochtli, very closely associated with the sun, and Coatlicue, kind of an earth deity. And so you get this kind of idea of the sun setting, the moon rising out of the earth, and that kind of cyclical nature of celestial bodies. But at the same time, there is a narrative that goes along with that, and it's a violent narrative. Essentially, Coyolxauhqui is kind of the eldest child, and when she finds out that Coatlicue is pregnant with Huitzilopochtli, she gets very jealous. And essentially tries to attack and kill her mother, and Huitzilopochtli emerges fully born and kills not only Coyolxauhqui, but the Senson-Huitznawa, the 400 Southerners that are also part of this family tree. You could think of them as sort of like stars in this kind of celestial story. And Huitzilopochtli, in the story, throws her body down to the bottom of this mountain, and that's kind of what the Aztecs were recreating when they made that temple. Was they were recreating that mythical narrative, and at the same time, a number of Aztec specialists, Cecilia Klein, Emily Umberger, they've wanted us to refocus our attention on the historicity of the placement of that monument. It probably dates to sometime in the 15th century, and at a moment in time when Tenochtitlan, the Aztec capital, is having a kind of rivalry with its neighbor to the north, Tlatelolco, which is a major market center for the Aztecs. And essentially, you can think of it as kind of a civil war, kind of a rivalry between sister cities, and Tenochtitlan wins. And one of the things that happened as part of that conflict was that the defeated in this kind of narrative were coded as female. And so there's a case to be made that the Coyolxauhqui Stone is not just referencing a mythic narrative about certain kinds of relationships that the Aztecs saw in the sky, but it's also a very specific historical narrative that pertains to this moment in time of rivalry between Tenochtitlan and Tlatelolco, and a kind of gendering of the defeated as women, as female.